Welcome back, everyone. We're here with another Q&A. Anything I say is not intended to cure any diseases, so check with your doctor before implementing any of the suggestions. I'd always like to dive in and just get to it. Steve, over to you.
All right, thank you, Doc. Let's go straight to Kylie from YouTube. What's the best way to protect ourselves from many EMFs we come in contact with daily?
You mean EMFs from this, electromagnetic fields?
I believe so.
Keep this away from your head. Talk on the on the speakerphone, and definitely on your computer. There's certain things that you can do, like if you have a battery backup, boy, that just emits a ton of EMF. So I push all my stuff as far back as possible. There's even like these power strips that really push a lot of EMF off that. So I think the best thing to do is to get a tri-field. They're the easiest device to figure out. And the tri-fields, you just turn it on to either EMF or, electromagnetic or magnetic field or electrofields, and then it'll actually pick it up and then go through your house. You're going to find stuff that's going to blow you away. And then that way you can bulletproof yourself, because it's like invisible radiation, and I'm sensitive to it, so I can feel it. But I've been sitting frying my body in front of the computer for years, not knowing about EMF until I got the machine. And then I rearranged my environment, so it's less affecting me right now.
Interesting. All right. Hope that helps, sir. Love Cast Out Fear is the handle from YouTube. I have acute pain in the mid to lower right side of my stomach and lower back. Could it be appendicitis, a kidney issue, or just a muscle strain? I've tried fasting, strict diet, and even ice packs. What is a common cause of this stuff within your research?
Well, I think I should do a video on this, because there's a lot of things going on in your abdomen. You have potential kidney stones that can cause pain similar to a gallstone. Can kind of cross over, so something that's hard to differentiate. You also have appendix problems, going to be more rare. That's a possibility. But the great majority of problems relate to stuff you're eating on a regular basis that you don't even know that's irritating your gut. For me, it was grains. And I found I had to get rid of nuts and grains, and for some people, it could be certain vegetables, like broccoli really kills my stomach too. So what you should do is to do carnivore for a period of time and see if that goes away. Just eliminate everything, and then until your digestive system is good, and then start adding one thing at a time to see what it is. The other thing that I think would be non-invasive is just an ultrasound to scan to see if is there a kidney stone in there, is there a gallstone in there, and then obviously they can do tests for appendicitis, but that's going to be on the lower right corner quadrant of your abdomen. But again, there's other problems with the ileocecal valve down there that could be an issue. But I always like to take the simple low-hanging fruit first, which is diet. Like really just eliminate the diet triggers. Because if you go right to the appendix and you take that out when you don't really need it, I'm not saying they don't do that, but the point is that the appendix is a reservoir of microbes that are there to kind of give you when you after an antibiotic or reseed after diarrhea. So I don't believe it's an extra organ. I think it's important. So that's what I would recommend.
Wow, they're just tearing everything out of us these days, Doc. All right, let's go to our first quiz question of the day. And audience, this is Thinking Cap Friday, because there's no true falsers. You're going to have to really think it out. Here's the first.
What nutrient is in Brazil nuts? What nutrient is Brazil nuts known for?
Audience, climb on it as we know you will. Let's go to Janet from YouTube. What's the best remedy for vertigo?
So vertigo is like this feeling of whirling or spinning. And I did a video on this, and it's usually these little calcium deposits that are breaking off into some fluid in the circular canals. And so that's going to create a feeling like you're not really stable. Now, normally these calcium anchors are supposed to be there, but sometimes they break off. And I actually show you in the video, the latest one, a technique that you can help push them back in the right location. And then what nutrient that could potentially help you over time, like vitamin D, to help prevent these calcium things from popping off. It happens as we get older, unfortunately.
All right, very good. Let's go to Emma from Rumble. I woke up the other night with a severe pain around my navel. It feels like my organs are being pinched together. The pain comes and goes. Any ideas?
Well, again, I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to write this down right now. I think that'd be a very interesting video because so many people have that issue, and it could be in different places. They don't really know what organs underneath it. You know what I should do, Steve? I should just like have a t-shirt that actually has your organs mapped out so you can actually know what's at the different levels and where things are, where your adrenal glands are. I'll have to do that. But the problem is women have to be a separate thing because the distance in your abdomen is different in a woman. But the point is that I think, again, I think this relates to food. I think you're going to have to, because you're talking about something that's occurring along a long digestive pipe that's 25 feet long. And so you're asking me, well, what could that be? Well, what are you eating? You know, we got to find out what you're eating that's irritating the colon. So many people are eating things that are creating inflammation in the gut. And to isolate that, the best thing is to eliminate and have very simple foods. And I think carnivore is going to be a really good starting point. And then see if it goes away, and then slowly start adding things in there one by one, and you'll find out what it is. But I mean, I can probably look at what you're eating. I would first eliminate the seed oils, the junk food, the starches, the sugars, the grains, the beans, and then if you're doing that, you have to eliminate that. Also, sugar alcohols will do it, and a lot of the so-called keto-friendly foods. Anything in a box, like the new things that they're selling with synthetic fibers, like soluble corn fiber. We don't even know if our gut microbe can really deal with that or not. So it's all just not tested, unfortunately. So keep things really, really simple and see if it doesn't go away.
I love the t-shirt idea with all the organs. And if the girls' organs are all too squishy, then we'll just have to forget them for now. We'll put out the boys' t-shirt and get everybody to learn anatomy. Speaking of girls, why don't we go to a nice lady who's up in Alaska, and she has one question for you, Dr. Berg. Go ahead with your question, Holly.
We live in the interior of Alaska, and we have very little sunlight and freezing temperatures and snow that stay from the end of September to April, May. And we're a household of 7. We get up between 2:30 and 5:20. And we wanted to start your program, and we were wondering if eating between 9:30 and 3:30 with the 6-hour window changing when we have company and other evening events, would that be most profitable living here?
Yeah, I think that would be really
It's very
smart. Yeah,
difficult to ask
have a
one
general rule,
question.
get everyone on board. What's that? Well, I think the other thing is that what's the positive things that you have in Alaska is you have ability to get fresh salmon, which I'm like jealous of. I mean, you're going to get a certain amount of vitamin D. You're going to get high omega-3 fatty acids, which is high in DHA, which is super important in your brain. It also has other fatty acids that help with inflammation, where it's harder where I am to get that. So we're stuck with eating grass-fed cow and sheep and goat. But the point is, I think, you should get on that fasting window. I think it'll help your whole family. And then since you're not available or have the access to the sun, you might have to add some vitamin D as a maintenance. Get it tested as well, because if it's down like 20 or 30, like get it up to like 70, 80, even 90. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much. We sure appreciate a good call. Hope that helps. Holly, let's go to quiz question number 1, which asked of the audience, what nutrient is Brazil nuts known for? And 90% of our respondents say selenium, 5% say it's magnesium, and 5% say it's copper or zinc. Any winners today, Doc?
Selenium. So these are Brazil nuts right here. 2 Brazil nuts will give you like 1,000 times the RDAs of selenium. Now, selenium is a very fascinating mineral, which I'm going to do a video about, and this actually relates to what it does to the immune system, but it also helps with your thyroid. It helps the conversion from T4 to T3. It helps lower antibodies to thyroid problems, so especially if you have Hashimoto's and other autoimmune problems. There's a great book, which I didn't bring it, but they're using selenium to help people with AIDS, because AIDS is a situation where you have you just don't have an immune system anymore. So selenium helps to support that. Selenium is also good to increase testosterone. It's really good to help hair growth. So there's some really cool things with selenium that you can get from Brazil nuts, and Brazil nuts out of everything have the most selenium. So it also helps to bind with mercury as well to help make mercury safer in the body. So anyway, I will do a video on that today, and I think one or 2 Brazil nuts a day will probably keep the doctor away with certain conditions.
All right, very good. An audience, 90% of you got that right, so that's very admirable. Karen from Facebook, how do we know the supplements we take are contributing to toxicity in our body? Good question.
I think the best way is to stick with a brand that has a face behind it. Of course, I'm not biased of my own brand, but the point is that there's a lot of brands out there that they're branded, but you don't know who's behind it. You don't really know the philosophy. If you take, let's just take this supplement right here, which I'm not going to even show you what the brand is, but this is a $2 billion supplement a year. $2 billion, very popular. But if you read the ingredients, first ingredient is calcium carbonate. That's limestone, that's a rock. That's why it's so heavy. It's filled with synthetic ingredients. I know for a fact it's probably loaded with maltodextrin and flow agents that are like starches, simply because I talk to manufacturing companies all the time, and that's what they use. So there's all these hidden things in there. So find a brand that has a face behind it that literally, cares about the supplements and gives a crap. And I have some stuff I'm going to reveal that is going to blow people away relating to B12, relating to other vitamins that, talk about toxicity. It's crazy. So anyway, that's all I want to say on that, Steve.
Well, that's a thorough briefing. Amir from Facebook, how can I remove the horrible effects of H. pylori?
Sulforaphane is a good antidote. And guess where you can get that in? You can get that from broccoli sprouts. You can get it from cabbage, cruciferous. If you don't have an ulcer, or gastritis, I think you should also take betaine hydrochloride, because we want to acidify it. This microbe, H. pylori, has a very sneaky strategy of surviving by changing the pH. It alters an enzyme that makes more ammonia, which is very alkaline. And so now it screws up your digestion because it's more alkaline. Of course, on top of, most people, if they have acid problems, they're going to take an antacid, and that's going to create a perfect environment for that microbe to come out of remission. But the other thing about it is that this sneaky microbe downgrades your vitamin D receptors. So here you are taking vitamin D, checking your blood. Hey, it's normal. But at the receptor level, deep in the cell, your receptors could be downgraded by that darn microbe. A lot of other microbes do it too as a survival mechanism. So these are all just tips.
Very interesting stuff. Here's a tip. Quiz question number 2 is up.
All right. If someone is wired and tired, what root cause jumps out at you?
All right, very good, audience. have at it, and let's go back to acknowledging who our audience is. So bear with me, folks. We'll get through it quickly. A good day to all our viewers joining us today from the UK, Canada, Mexico, Pakistan, Mozambique, Indonesia, Armenia, South Africa, Algeria, Lebanon, South Korea, Jamaica, Iraq, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, Tonga, I haven't heard from them for a while, Bulgaria, Romania, Poland, Oman, Ethiopia, Slovakia, Denmark, Malta, Cameroon, Ukraine, the Philippines, Norway, the Czech Republic, Uganda, New Zealand, Malta, Brunei, Vietnam, Maldives, Bermuda, Ireland, Finland, Panama, Austria, Egypt, the Netherlands, the United Arab Emirates, Peru, Nepal, neat place, Moldova, Italy, Sweden, Ghana, Scotland, Trinidad and Tobago, Eritrea, Greece, and all across these United States. And of course, folks, any of you that missed it, say, hey, what about us? We'll announce you too in the coming moments. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Eric for Rumble, are there any remedies to reverse mitral valve calcification with regurgitation? Sounds complicated.
Well, I think, I've talked about this before, and you get a calcium score to look at where you are at. Obviously, if you have calcium, how do you get rid of the calcium? Sometimes you don't, sometimes you just want it to be hard calcium, and you want to do things to mitigate or reduce the root cause of why you had it in the first place, which is inflammation. So if you were to look at that, a couple things come to mind. Vitamin K2, very important. Tocotrienols. Getting enough sun increases more infrared, which increases nitric oxide in the arteries itself. Calcium. The other thing with calcium is that having enough vitamin D to support the balance of calcium is important with K2. Vitamin D also, if there's low vitamin D, this also forces your parathyroid gland to steal calcium from the bone and put it in the blood. So that's another thing too, to keep your vitamin D levels high. And then also check the parathyroid hormone. You want that to be low normal. So that means you're not in danger of having this stripping off of your bone calcium issue. So I did some recent videos on this exact topic, and you should watch them because there's a lot more to this answer than what I just said.
Okay, very good. And those folks in Iceland said it's mean that we never mention them. So Yahoo Iceland, I'm sorry for being so mean, and we'll put you on the list. All right, let's go to Poshikawa from YouTube. My lips are no longer get chapped or cracking, but the skin around them is still red and sore, and I've had chielitis, inflammation of the lips, for 5 years. How much longer do I need to take vitamin B2 to see a full recovery?
So if you look this up, this condition, we have the cracking in the corners of the mouth or chapped lips, you'll see it's a B2 deficiency, okay? And then a lot of people take the B2, and you're like, okay, it's better, but it didn't totally fix the problem. In nature, you never see one vitamin. It comes in a complex. And it's really a combination of why would you possibly get a B2 deficiency in the first place? And this relates to a bigger problem, which is what you're eating. Getting enough nutrient-dense foods, but more than that, avoiding the foods that deplete you of these B vitamins. And I would, if you want to have really perfect lips and get rid of that cracking, do what I should have done when I had the problem as a young teenager, and that would be stop eating or stop buying ultra-processed foods at the store. Okay, stop buying them. Stop consuming seed oils, which just really mess up the membranes and make everything really fragile and brittle and not good. And then, of course, like when you go in the grocery store, eat before you go and go with a list, okay? So that way, you're not just randomly going around, let's see, what am I in the mood for because I'm hungry right now? Let me just try that. Boom. Because that's dangerous, especially Steve, this might be hard to believe, but they have entire rows at the grocery store of ultra-processed food snacks. I know, this is hard to believe. And there's multiple rows. And so you're just going into this environment where it's hard to say no. And then if you buy it, now you have to say no every single night before you go to sleep. So
Oh.
don't buy it. Don't keep it in the house, Steve. And that way it'll make it harder for you to eat that food. So, and then start eating nutrient dense foods. A really good source of B2 with all the other nutrients is red meat animal protein with each meal.
All right, very good, Doc. Which aisle is that asking for a friend? Okay,
I'm
let's
not
move
telling
on.
you.
All right. Aurora Sky from Facebook. What are your thoughts on using nicotine patches to improve our health issues? I've never heard of it as a...
So there's some data that shows that the nicotine can help with things like long COVID because it increases, it's part of the family of the B3, which is a derivative of niacin. So like nicotinic acid. So I don't know. I don't have enough data to tell you yes or no, but I will say that you could just get niacin and do that. I know that's been thoroughly tested and it doesn't create additional effects except a flushing response. But I mean, nicotine is a stimulant, and so it comes with the package. But I can't tell you yes or no. But I will say niacin might be a better way to build up that NAC in your mitochondria.
All right, very good. And as promised, a shout out to other viewers in the...
NAD, not NAC.
Sorry. Thank you, Doc. NAD audience. A shout out to our other viewers in the Congo, DRC, Germany, Bermuda, Barbados, Antigua, Venezuela, Bangladesh, Iceland. There you go, Algeria, and Morocco. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. All right, let's go to, how about quiz question number 2, which the audience has astutely answered, I'm sure. And let me bring that up right there. And it asked, if someone is wired and tired, what root cause jumps out at you? 72% of respondents say it's low levels of vitamin D, 18% say it's low levels of vitamin B as in boy, and 10% say it's a magnesium deficiency. Doc, any winners?
Well, I just did a video on all the different types of fatigue you can have, because if you're tired, I mean, and you treat it directly as a symptom, oh yeah, just take an energy drink, right? Well, wait a second. There's many causes to fatigue. So I kind of went through and I described the different sensations. And if you're tired and wired, that would be a classic adrenal issue, okay? The adrenal you call it adrenal fatigue. But shockingly, the medical profession doesn't acknowledge that. Okay, well, whatever. But we do know the adrenal glands through stress can really overact and then kind of burn out, and now you're really tired. And so this will leave you into a situation where you can't tolerate babysitting a room of 14 small kids over 8 hours. You have a hard time driving around the Beltway, going bumper to bumper for over 2.5 hours stuck in traffic. For some reason that bothers you. So your tolerance for stress is an issue. And also you have other issues, like if you stand up, you feel dizzy. But like here you are tired and wore out, yet you can't sleep. And you're nervous, and it's like it affects your cognitive function. And you're kind of in like a stress mode, but you're tired. So that would be the classic adrenal thing. So this is what you need to do. Number one, as far as nutrition, B1, very important. Take the natural version. It's called L-theanine. Vitamin D3 and the sun. Get this as much as the sun, unless it's winter, then take vitamin D. Vitamin D helps with inflammation, and it also is very important in adrenal. And then magnesium. So magnesium will help lower cortisol. But as far as other things, long walks are really, really key. Hiking outside, less time in front of your computer or around this thing right here. Do physical work outside, super important, but you want to take your mind off the stress. And then slowly improve your adrenals by getting more sleep. I'm an expert in this topic because I had this problem for a decade, and I know exactly what it feels like.
All right, very good. We're going to go to quiz question number 3 and then go to our guest from India. So, Doc, there's quiz question number 3.
Okay, if magnesium helps you to be calm and relax muscles and sleep, how can it also help you to be more energetic?
All right, folks, get on that. And welcome, sir. I can't pronounce your name. I'm embarrassed, but I know you're from India. Go ahead with your question for Dr. Berg. Why don't you tell us your name?
My name is Pankaj. Thanks for inviting. I was recently diagnosed with neuroendocrine tumor in my pancreas, and it has spread to my liver. So my symptoms are basically I've lost around 10 to 12 kg, and I used to have dull pain in my left side under the rib cage, and it used to radiate to the back as well. So basically, my question for now is like, what would you suggest? Like, what diet should I follow, and what should I consume? What should I avoid? Because I've tried to cut off the sugar and everything, but currently, due to the weight loss, I'm feeling very weak. So yeah, basically, need guidance on the diet and the lifestyle changes.
So if you go to the doctor with cancer and you ask them what diet should I be on, they'll say it doesn't matter. I think it does. The last video I did on cancer, I go through all the different types of cancer and the type of diet you should be on to help optimize things as much as possible, because if you can identify the type of cancer, even the stage of cancer, you can then figure out how to have a strategy to not feed it what it's surviving off of, so we can starve it off of the resources. So I would look at that video, because what you want to do is you want to do one diet, and then you want to rotate it to another diet after a period of time, and then you want to rotate it. That way it keeps the cancer from adapting. You got to realize cancer is it's on its last, it's like the cancer is sick, and it's coping as best as it can. It's trying to steal your resources. One of the challenges where I think you're probably going to run into, because I see that you doesn't look like you have a lot of extra fat on your body to be able to do a 40-day fast. That's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
If you did, I would say go on a fast, but at least you can do some fasting. But I think your best hope is going to be this rotation of this diet. And then with basically, I built into that video, every single food also has an anti-cancer effect. I think this is something that I would recommend that you would dive into and do, because it's like, unfortunately, they don't really give you a lot of options. So yeah, I would watch that last video I did, and
Do I
the
need
best you
to
can
cut
with that.
off any natural sugars?
Yeah, well, in that video, I talk about what type of foods that might have more sugar than others. But of course, yes, you're going to have to avoid sugars. But here's the problem. When you avoid all sugars, then you're in ketosis, right? Well, certain types of advanced cancer and certain types of cancer can also use your ketones to survive. So now what? So unfortunately, I wish it was simple as just avoid all sugars and kill the cancer, but no, cancer can also live off certain proteins. So it can be overwhelming, but you really need to watch that video and dissect it and understand it and then apply it. Is it easy? No. But you're in a situation where it can help your survival. So I think it's doable. So I would go for it.
All right. Well, best of luck to you. We're all pulling for you from around the world, and I hope you see some positive results. All right, let's move on to BRLP from Rumble. I'm 59 and started to get bags under the eyes. Never had them before. Any suggestions for his baggy eyes?
So are you sleeping? Do you have any problem sleeping? Fix that if you have a problem sleeping. The other thing, is there any sinus issues, dealing with that? A lot of people, when they're out of the sun, they're inside too much. They'll get bags underneath their eyes as well, because the sun is so therapeutic, from the vitamin D, from the nitric oxide, from the infrared, increasing serotonin, and it's really good for your skin. I know a lot of people during the winter, when they're all winter long, all of a sudden, before they go out in the sun again, they got these dark circles. So these are just simple things I would look at. There's also a type of anemia that will cause it as well. So watch my video, and this brings up, I think, a good point. Unfortunately, these conditions right now have multiple causes. It's not always one cause. So what do you do? Well, you cope, watch my videos, try different things. But the good news is that there is going to be some program that is going to help sort all this out, to help short circuit and speed up the time of figuring out what would be the best remedy for you in this situation. So stay tuned for that. That's a very exciting project we're working on, and I think you'll be very happy.
That's neat. Okay, let's go to quiz question number 3, which asked, if magnesium can help you be calm, relaxes muscles, and helps you sleep, how can it also help you to be more energetic? And the audience said the following, that 85% say magnesium also serves as a cofactor to convert food to energy. That sounds neat. 10% say it's because magnesium lowers cortisol and stress, and 5% say it's vital in activating other vitamins and minerals.
Okay, so in the body, you have biochemistry. What they don't teach you in biochemistry, at least the class that I took, they don't teach you the cofactors, what cofactors are good for different things. What's a cofactor? It's a helper nutrient. It's the vitamins and minerals and trace minerals that we get from food to help make biochemistry work. They're essential to allow one enzyme step to go to another enzyme step. So whether it's movement, growing of hair, detoxification, repair, growth, all these different actions in the body require biochemical reactions and enzymes, and also cofactors. Well, it just so happens that magnesium is intimately involved with a lot of the motors of the body. Yes, there's little miniature rotary motors, and the one in the mitochondria that spins 300 to 400 times a second, like a jet engine, makes ATP. And guess what it needs as a cofactor? Magnesium. So again, you're right, like turning food into energy requires magnesium. So this is why, people say, well, I just thought it was good for muscle tightness. Do you realize it takes a lot of energy to make a muscle relaxed? So to keep your body, your posture, your muscles, everything in check, keep you sleeping, it takes a lot of energy. It's not a passive thing. So it takes energy to do that. And magnesium is a really important cofactor in at least 300 to 400 different biochemical reactions.
All right, very good. Here's quiz question number 4 for the day.
Regarding blood sugar problems, why does your brain feel it first when you have a blood sugar problem?
All right, that's an interesting question. Let's see, Lorraine from YouTube. What can we do for ulcerative colitis issues?
Carnivore. I would recommend carnivore because that's like inflammation in your gut, and you can heal it up with carnivore. The meat in carnivore will help glutamine, which helps heal the gut, and plus you're avoiding all this fiber, which irritates the gut if you have inflammation. And that's what I would do, and see how you feel.
Okay, very good. Let's go to Philip from Facebook. What's the best solution for good old brain fog?
So there's a couple reasons for that. That could come from a blood sugar issue. It could come from you're not getting enough amino acids because you're not eating enough red meat in your diet, or high quality protein. It could be fish or eggs as well, but you're just not getting enough of it. And so then you're going to get brain fog. It could be also toxicity from something. Like, let's pretend that you drank alcohol. You're going to feel brain fog the next morning. I think brain fog typically relates to something you're eating that you shouldn't be eating. So I think that's all I'll say about that, Steve.
Yeah, stay off aisle 5. Tina from Facebook. What would be the cause of sudden onset of high blood pressure and associated neck pain and poor eyesight? That sounds scary.
Yeah, anything like sudden like that, you got to go get a test and get it scanned and just see what's going on, because it could be any number of things. I don't want to, put it out there, but when you have those major symptoms, get it checked, see what's going on. I think that if nothing shows up, what I would do, I would look to the diet. I would look at your vitamin D, look at potassium and magnesium, make sure you're eating all that or consuming that in your diet, and put back in the basic lifestyle factors that should be there. So all these questions that we're dealing with right now, The way I look at it is there's like 7 or 8 lifestyle factors: sleep, exercise, foods, being out in the sun, reducing stress, things like that, right? All these lifestyle factors. I just basically, when I look at it, I just do a comparison with the ideal situation that you should be doing and then what you're doing. And then I find out what's missing and I recommend that. That usually handles like 80% of the problem right there. It's real simple. So since unfortunately only 1.9% of research is focused on lifestyle changes, which is insane because that's responsible for the majority of chronic illness. So anyway, I think I'll be talking more about that going in the future, but yeah, that's what I'd recommend.
Super Axiom from Rumble. Are all of your supplements gluten-free? I am gluten sensitive. That's a good question, I guess.
Of course. Yeah, that's yeah, I definitely do not put gluten in any of the supplements. I'm very much against gluten, especially the modern gluten. It's like one of the protein that we can't digest as humans, and it creates a lot of inflammatory stuff with our gut. So yeah, you don't want that in any supplements, and I don't have them.
That's great. Let's go to Snow99 from YouTube. What are the benefits of taking CoQ10?
CoQ10 is a cofactor. It's something you also get from food, but it's actually something that helps your mitochondria work better to make energy. And when some people take statin drugs, you deplete your coenzyme Q10, and then you start having muscle problems because you lose the mitochondrial function. So this is why if you are on statins, you better be taking coenzyme Q10. But yeah, it's a nutrient that I think the food that has the most of it is the heart muscle. So I don't know if most people eat heart anymore, but you know, eat nose to tail. I think coenzyme Q10 is a really good one to strengthen the heart, especially if someone had heart surgery or they have a weak heart or a broken heart. They need coenzyme Q10.
All right, very good. Let's see what the audience thought of quiz question number 4, which asked, relative to blood sugar problems, why does your brain feel it first? 77% of our respondents say that their brain relies on glucose to function, and blood sugar fluctuations can impact cognition. Very brainy sounding answer. 13% say high blood sugar can reduce the flow of blood to the brain, and 10% say blood sugar issues. And that's interesting. Blood flow to the brain can actually shrink the brain. Is that true, Doc? That sounds interesting.
So let me just answer the question first, because when you have blood sugar problems, you know, different organs have, like the liver can store its own glucose as glycogen. The brain doesn't. So the brain has no storage of fuel. Okay? No glycogen. And we don't use the fat from our brain for fuel. So here's the thing. It depends on what's in the blood. So when your blood sugars are up and down, oh my gosh, it's going to affect your brain first. Brain fog, irritability, what is that? Memory loss, and a lot of other cognitive issues that are related to that. So also, you can have insulin resistance of the brain cells. So when you're doing the high carb thing for too long, you're going to find that your brain, your neurons, your brain cells won't be able to get that fuel as efficiently. So literally, this is why people get like dementia. This is called it's called type 3 diabetes. So it is a myth that the brain only can use glucose. It can also use ketones. So if you cut the carbs down, you force the body to generate fuel from your fat called ketones. It goes up into the brain, and your brain loves ketones, and it bypasses that damaged pathway from all the sugar, and you get fuel. This is why people are going low carb. Like their brain just wakes up. They feel great in the head. This was my problem. I had blood sugar problems for decades, and I didn't know it. And I couldn't think. I couldn't wake up. And as soon as I started eating protein, cutting down the carbs, oh my gosh, it was like someone took a helmet off my head. It was amazing. So, man, what a waste of 2 decades of just not knowing a simple thing like that. I mean, that's like crazy.
You can't get that time back, Doc. Anyway.
I'm trying to get it back.
And Paula from Facebook, is one 30-minute infrared sauna session a week enough to improve our health, or is it too much?
It's not too much, but you realize you can get infrared from the sun too. So, or a fireplace, like if you're a fire or a campfire, or a little bit on the candles and things like that. So, infrared is really therapeutic for many, many things. And so an infrared sauna would be awesome. And I think that would help you a lot.
All right, very good. Let's go with our final quiz question for the day. Not a true falser.
Why do you have such a massive, or why do we have such a massive daily potassium requirement? 4,700 milligrams.
Okay, let us know what you think, audience. Okay, MSC from Rumble. My husband is a diabetic and taking meds for the last 10 years. Lately, he's getting various illnesses, and most recently, MRSA. What supplements would you recommend for him to take?
Well, he needs a probiotic, number one. Probiotic is going to help him, but he needs to go on, watch my video on how to reverse diabetes within 10 weeks. By cutting your carbs down, doing intermittent fasting. Maybe berberine might help as well, doing exercise. But, here you go to the doctor. They wait until you're dysfunctional, and then they treat you. Everything is like focused on downstream, like later stage issues, and they treat you. There's no prevention in medicine. There's screenings to catch it, but then they put you on medication. But there's nothing root cause focused. They don't tell you to cut down the carbs to even prevent it. So what is diabetes? It's a disease of too much sugar in the blood. So it's obvious what the solution is. Cut down the sugar and the hidden sugars, and then the frequency of eating, and that should improve over time to the point where you need less and less medication. So that's the simple answer, but there's a lot more on my videos.
All right, very good. Let's see. Ricky from YouTube, since all diseases start in the gut, if that's true, how important is it to go organic as much as possible?
I think it's important because on one hand, organic is without pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, fungicides, heavy metals, things like that. And that's really important. But that's not enough, because if you take a look at organic Pop-Tarts, okay? Hey, now we're giving you the sugar and starch, but they're organic without pesticides. Yeah, but you're still doing the organic seed oils, the starches, industrial or sugars. So is organic going to help you if you do that? Yeah, maybe this much, but it's going to be insignificant. You need to cut out the starches, sugars, and seed oils as the most important action. Organic if you can afford it, but if you can't, just at least cut out those three things.
Okay, is it reasonable to ask when you go into a reputable, if that's the word, grocery chain, and an organic is $6 and non-organic is $3? What sort of, can we trust that in general?
Well, I think if you can afford it, go with the organic, because there's a lot more care that's gone into the organic. So, like, let's just take eggs. Cage. The great majority of chickens are in a cage, literally like the tiniest cage you can imagine their whole life, and you're going to eat that, okay? And then they have cage free. They get to go outside the cage, but they have like 100,000 chickens in the same barn, and they don't get much more space than that. And then you got pasture raised, so they get more space. I mean, it's just unfortunate. So then organic without the use of pesticides and things like that, or antibiotics, which is important. But again, some people can't afford it, so just do what you can. But at least do whole foods. Don't do junk foods. And when I say whole foods, realize I'm not talking about whole grains. I don't recommend eating grains. Why? Because it's so inflammatory to your gut. High omega-6, even the whole grains are involving modern wheat. which is has way different chemistry and chromosomes than ancient wheat. And it's very high in starch. It's going to affect your blood sugar. But the main thing is going to destroy the gut lining. And so anyway, I should stop right now, Steve, before I get too involved in it.
No, that's awful, but I'm glad to know it, so is the audience. And the audience knew the answer to quiz question number 5, I think. Why do we have such a massive daily potassium requirement, 4,700 milligrams? And the audience suggests, 68%, that we need so much potassium to regulate vital functions of the body. 22% say it's needed to balance out the sodium levels and control the blood pressure. And the final 10% say it's to improve the heart functions.
Okay, so this is another video I think I need to do because this is interesting. All these other vitamins, like B1, the RDA is like 1.7 milligrams, something like that, like ridiculous. And you got the trace minerals, you need tiny amounts, micrograms. Sodium, I think 2,400 milligrams. But then all of a sudden now you get the potassium, it's like 4,700. Like that just stands way out. Like we need so much. And that's because where potassium works is inside the cell, and we have trillions of cells. So potassium allows the electrical gradient to occur in your nervous system, so you can power the muscles. It also helps you regulate the pH. It works with sodium in this creation of this battery, this voltage thing. So it's really important, and it's involved with a pump that allows you to move these two things back and forth in and out of the cells. So if we take back our ancestors and we look at how do we get sodium, how do we get potassium back in the day, it was very, very hard to get sodium. So our bodies developed all sorts of ways of retaining sodium retention, so we don't lose it. But we don't have those enzymes for potassium. We don't retain potassium. If you ate 10,000 milligrams of potassium from your foods, you'd get rid of anything you didn't need. So our bodies are constantly wasting, it's like leaky for potassium. So apparently, what does that mean? It means that way back in the day, we got potassium from our foods in large amounts. Where do we get potassium from? When you eat animals that eat grass, especially nose to tail, there's 3 to 10 times more potassium than the animals we eat nowadays. Also, we consume the blood, the bones, all these different things in the animal tissue, the organ meats, massive amounts of potassium versus just the muscle. Also, we didn't just eat meat. We ate anything we could find, like tubers and roots and some plants, not a lot, bark, nuts, seasonal fruits in smaller quantities, but those also had much more potassium than our modern day even fruit. So there was estimations that we used to get up to 10 to 12 to 15,000 milligrams of potassium back in the day, which is interesting because potassium does so much for protecting against blood pressure, protecting against kidney damage, and also keeping the fluid from retaining in our bodies. So, and also just to make energy. So potassium is really important. And then the question is, well, can I just take a potassium supplement and take 15,000 milligrams? No, you don't want to do that. You want to get it from the food, but if you want to substitute maybe 1 or 2,000 milligrams, fine. That's not going to be a problem. But I wouldn't do like 10,000 or 15,000. If you want to try to get it from food, that would be a smarter thing because we don't know if you're just taking straight potassium and that much, if that's going to be a problem or not. But our bodies get rid of excess potassium that we don't need.
All right, what a relief. Marla from YouTube, what are your thoughts about ingesting apricot seeds that contain the vitamin B17? Never heard of that. That was a bomber.
laetrile. Well, this is one thing you can't talk about on YouTube or you get banned. So can't talk about it. You also can't talk about colloidal silver, even though that was used in as a like the antibiotic by a lot of medical doctors back in 1926 and before that. This is before antibiotics. So you can't talk about some of these things. I think anything that they say the science is settled or you can't talk about, I would look into it. I would research it, because right now it's been revealed that there's been, I know this might be shocking to some of you, but there's been some censoring of health information. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but it's true.
All right, very good. And that's why we also broadcast on Rumble. So go over there if you want. You'll see a little bit more free flow of information from Dr. Berg and others. Okay, let's go to Elvira from Facebook. Which supplements or herbs should I be taking to prevent a breakdown of ochratoxin in my body? Is okra toxic?
Okra?
Yes, okra.
You mean oxalates or okra?
Well, it said okra, O-K-R-A, to break down ochratoxin in my body. Or maybe ochratoxin, he hyphenated it, Terry, and I'm sure he's correct. But
Yeah,
Terry, if there's another name for that, phonetically do it. Let's move on to Jihan from YouTube. I've been diagnosed with bile reflux and severe gastritis. Help! But that hurts.
So when you get reflux, a lot of times it's acid, but it can also be bile. Bile is a detergent. So it's very irritating to tissues that aren't protected. So once it gets into the esophagus, it can actually kind of erode it. And so it can kind of come up from the gallbladder and intestines up through into the stomach and up through the top of the valve there. So I did a video on this. What you need to do is you need to get your diet corrected. You need to do intermittent fasting. You're eating too frequently. And this is one thing that is like, if you're listening right now and you're doing snacking between meals or 3 meals a day, this is not natural. It is not natural to do that. This poor digestive system has just been overloaded with so much food. It's regurgitating, it's backing up to the system. It doesn't have a chance to rest. It has to constantly work 24/7. I'm guilty of that. I used to eat 3 meals plus snacks and lots. I would literally, at the last meal, I would go watch TV and eat, graze between right after dinner, maybe not right after, but close after, all the way until I go to sleep at night. I would be grazing nonstop eating. I know. I mean, I'm sure some people are watching doing that too. It's like, wow, you're going to bed completely filling up your pipes and just cramming it down there and just feeling totally stuffed. Amazing. It's amazing why we don't have more bile reflux.
No kidding. Okay, Cindy from Facebook, what's the best natural remedy for very loud and consistent tinnitus? I've had it for, 18 years.
I'll do an updated video on that soon, but I have several videos, and there's certain things that you can try, techniques and different things to get rid of that, like a procedure. And it doesn't work 100% of the time, but it works a certain percentage. And I would try one, and then if that didn't work, try the other.
All right. By the way, that previous condition or thing was ochratoxin A. Maybe that's the better way to say it. If it doesn't ring a bell, we will move on. Okay, we're still a little...
Move on. Give me some simple questions, people.
All right.
Simple.
Yeah, no more okra. Okay, MSC from Rumble. My husband is a diabetic and taking meds for the last 10 years. Lately, oh, good grief, I already asked that. Robert from YouTube, I've been using lanosterol eye drops for cataracts. They seem to be helping. How long should I stay on these drops?
Well, again, I can't give you advice about a drug, especially a steroid. Yeah, boy, that's a slippery slope too, because, there's some complications with that. You can look that up. But there's a really good remedy for cataracts that I really like. It's hard to find it, but you can find it if you search online. It's called NAC, but it's not the regular NAC. It's N-acetylcarnosine, not N-acetylcysteine. The carnosine, you want the carnosine one, and they're drops. and they go into the eye, they penetrate the lens, and they go deeper in the eye, and they help as an antioxidant to protect you against all sorts of things that cause cataracts. So I would highly recommend getting those, because you can even reverse cataracts in some cases. So it's worth a shot. It's not that expensive, but it's an eye drop.
All right, here's an interesting one. Jeff from YouTube. Would 2 drops of oregano oil in a glass of water daily help destroy parasites in the body?
Well, I don't know, but I think you're going to make it stronger, and that oregano oil is like it's an antimicrobial, anti-parasitic. If you were to also take black walnut hull and wormwood extract, you'd probably put the icing on the cake with that parasite or that worm, whatever it is, and make it go bye-bye.
All right, here's an interesting one. Shalom from YouTube. I am doing intermittent fasting with an 18-6 eating window. I have a lot of bile flowing. It is causing loose stools and abdominal pain. I only eat meat and veggies. I don't have a gallbladder. What can I do to remedy that situation?
When someone removes the gallbladder, sometimes they become bile deficient. Sometimes they make more bile, in which case that can create a problem, because then the stools are going to be loose, because bile lubricates the colon. So this is a situation where you might need to, there is a drug, unfortunately. If you tried everything else, there is a drug to slow down that bile problem, because it could really be disastrous from the rest of your intestine. So I'd look into that. But also I would look into what you're eating, because there are certain foods that stimulate the bile production. Maybe you can not eat those foods and eat other foods and try to find some natural remedy. But yeah, it's once you have that gallbladder out, there's complications. And it's like you have to keep trying things, but sometimes it's hard to find the right thing that's going to help you.
Okay, let's go to T-Dub from Rumble. I had gastric bypass surgery in 2007, and my nutritional needs are obviously different. Please consider making a video, if you haven't, about the best nutrition we need after such surgery. By the way, I have lost 125 pounds in 4 years following your program. I'm concerned that I'm not using the best supplements giving my procedure, and that, of course, deserves the famous bell ring for success. What do you say, Doc?
So I would say that, yeah, when you have I did do a video on this, you can look it up, but the gastric bypass limits the surface area of your stomach. So now you may find that you need like more of certain nutrients, especially more trace minerals. You might need more bile because now we have less triggering of the gallbladder to release bile. So you would take that after a meal. But the trace minerals, I think, are going to be really important, and also the B vitamins, and even vitamin D. So I would watch that video, because you're just going to have to just up all the vitamins or nutrition you're taking to overcome the surgical reduction of your stomach or the bypassing of your small intestine.
Okay, very good. Here's an oft-asked and popular thing. Kava from Rumble, what are your thoughts about good old methylene blue?
Methylene blue is a synthetic dye, one of the first medications that has been thoroughly researched. And it's one of those synthetics that I think is pretty backed up by science that can actually help you, mainly for mitochondrial dysfunction, which a lot of people have. Should everyone take it? Well, if you have some type of inflammation or chronic metabolic disease, you should definitely take it if you have that and try it out. I would rotate it and take it, maybe for a couple weeks, and then don't take it for a few weeks. Make sure it's diluted, make sure it's food grade, make sure you don't omit the deeper root causes, because all these remedies that I talk about and other people talk about are good, but realize that make sure you're also at the same time fixing your lifestyle changes in your diet and your sleep, because if you don't, those supplements can be expensive urine.
Okay, with the holiday that we have in America, we're going to be observing it next week, and there won't be a show next Friday. Am I correct, Dr. Berg?
Yeah, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be where I have a camera.
That's it. Okay, so that's it. And also, we've done it again, Dr. Berg, TGIF, and so on.
Have a wonderful weekend. I'm gonna release some pretty juicy, amazing videos this weekend, so check it out. Have a great weekend. I will see you in 2 weeks.